And we're looking now at our next final. This is for the Bob Aitken Memorial Trophy Open Mens Coxless Fours and race 425. In lane 3, it's Dutton Park Composite, Sydney in lane 4, a Swan Composite in 5, a Sydney team in crew in 6, and the buzzer's gone, so the crew's away. All yours, Phil.
Yes, indeed. Great race coming up, but I think we'll have the presentation next.
Presentation now, ladies and gentlemen. Presentation of medals for the under-23 Men's Coxless Four. Medals to be presented by David Rose, President of Rowing Western Australia. Third place and bronze medalist, the Mercantile Melbourne University Composite, Tom Hunt from Mercantile. Charlie Dixon, Melbourne University. Harrison Bongiorno from Mercantile. And the stroke, Angus Whitcomb from Mercantile, the crew coached by Davis Pincus. Second place and silver medalists, Commercial Toowong Composite crew. Jack Armitage from Toowong. Hamish Parry, also of Toowong. Darcy Ruck from Commercial. And the stroke, Harley Moore Commercial. Our gold medalists, Australian champions for 2015, the Adelaide University Adelaide Toowong Composite crew. Daniel McCarthy from Toowong. Nathan Bowden, Adelaide. Drew Clements, Adelaide. And the stroke, Jen Nicole from Adelaide University, the crew being coached by Jared Shah. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate the 2015 Australian champions and medalists.
Magnificent, thank you very much, John. And on the course, the second of the highlights, we've just seen most of the women's sweep squad for Australia competing there in the Women's Coxless Four. And now it's the men's turn, as we have just 4 crews here, but all quality, with particularly the crews on the two sides of the course, the ones to look out for. You've got on the near side, Sydney Rowing Club, featuring the great man himself, James Chapman, the London Games silver medalist and the doyen of the New South Wales Kings Cup crew, and currently selected in the Australian 8. He's joined by Josh Hicks, the big West Australian, a very pale-skinned man, but he really can move the boat in the stroke seat. And alongside those two, Spencer Turin and Alex Lloyd of the Australian Men's Four, and duking it out with them over the 2 kilometres today. We've got the National Training Centre Canberra Composite crew. You've got Jack Hargraves selected in the Australian pair, Kit Cunningham-Reid, Fergus Pragnell and Scott Laidler. Fergus and Scott both also selected in the 8. And the race doesn't end there, because in the centre you've got Sydney Rowing Club in lane 4, Chris Morgan, London Games bronze medalists, Cam Brewer, the big West Australian, Scott Woodward, and Matthew Dignan, one of the most celebrated college athletes of his generation. And finally, rounding out the field, the Swan River A&A Composite, Jeremy Stevens, Tom Getty, Reece Grant and Dave Watts out of the Australian quad. But the fight is on between the two crews on either side, Sydney Rowing Club, the near side, and the Canberra-based composite crew, the far side. But Sydney Rowing Club, we're in front here with James Chapman, Josh Hicks, Spencer Turin and Alex Lloyd. The boys are fired up. I saw Spencer before the race, and he said nothing short of victory would be satisfactory today. And it looks like the light blue of Sydney is going to be carried to victory. They're in front here of the Canberra crew in second. A couple of the Sydney Uni lads in the back have been duking it out with Sydney Rowing Club throughout the season here in New South Wales. And I tell you what, the Sydney number 2 crew is right up there as well in the centre of the course. They're exceeding expectations here. They're almost within a length of that Canberra crew on the far side, who are just feeling the heat a little bit here. As Sydney Rowing Club really charging away. You can see the crew now coming into view. Spencer Turin and Alex Lloyd taking the stern 2 seats, it looks like there. James Chapman just obscuring the big bold head with the cap in the bow seat, but barreling to victory here, Sydney Rowing Club. They're driving away from the Canberra crew on the far side, who have no answers to the finishing sprint of this crew. You've got Alex Lloyd in stroke seat, Spencer Turin in 3, Josh Hicks in 2, and Chapman, the great man, bringing it across the line. And appropriate that he's first across the line for Sydney Rowing Club. And to salute the crowd from the stroke seat there of Alex Lloyd. He raises the fingers in success as they've lowered the colours again of the Canberra composite crew on the far side. And a very good performance coming from Sydney Rowing Club in third. The crew of Morgan, Brewer, Woodward and Dignan. I wouldn't have had them within 5 lengths of that crew on the far side, but they got within about a length and a half on the line. So a fine performance from them, and they left behind the Swan River A&A Composite in 4th place. But just magnificent to see all those wonderful athletes.
And the unofficial time for the Sydney crew, 5:58.85. They led in the Dutton Park Composite ahead of the second Sydney crew and the Swan Composite in 4th place.